What's up, everybody? Welcome into another episode of the 1796 Sports Podcast. Joined by Jim, as always, aka Normal Vol fan, wrapped up in a blanket today.
Yep.
Over there, Jim,
Uh-huh.
looking fly.
Hype me up now.
I'll tell you what wasn't fly was Friday night for the baseball team, man. But it was fly for about 8.5 innings. I mean, and then, man, I talked about it when it happened. The first thing I felt for Carly after those two errors was like, damn, man, I hope he gets through this okay. Because
Yeah.
I try to I try to remember that, these are still people, but that it was just so brutal to lose that 3-run lead and it led to losing the series. I mean, I think it was always going to be tough to win both Saturday and Sunday versus LSU with the way our pitching has been on on Sunday and Saturday. But credit to Marcus Phillips, he won us that Saturday game, six and
Fantastic.
2/3. Yeah. Um, but again, it's just such a waste of Liam Doyle. Another great start. You know, Snead should have had that save, and then that's the bottom line. I mean,
Yeah, it's not on Sneed. Not on
yeah,
Sneed. He got you those plays and just you can't LSU's a fantastic team.
yeah.
Fantastic team. So you can't we got all these fans overreacting when how many losses we have on the season?
Well, we got 9 now, 13-8 in the conference.
In the best conference in college baseball. I mean,
Yeah, we're still fourth in the conference. Um, Arkansas has lost their last two series. I mean, they lost today to Florida to lose the series. By the way,
which
like
what we do to Florida?
we swept them. I
Oh,
mean,
okay, yeah.
it was down there in that ballpark. But I mean, this is just SEC baseball. I mean, the only team that's immune from that this year is Texas. Seemingly, I think Texas is clearly a cut above everybody else right now. But you know, like you said, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say Tennessee's last four series last month is perfectly fine with me. It's just
Yeah.
but I will say I'm glad they're doing it in April instead of May or June. Like there's plenty of time to figure things out here. And I think the big thing is the more AJ, extends his pitch count, the better we'll be on Sunday. Um,
Agreed, yeah.
and I think you'll always have Doyle giving you a good performance. I mean, his first bad outing will be his first bad outing of the year, and the hitting will come around. And we probably Tennessee honestly probably should have scored 15 runs on Saturday because they left like double digit on base.
How many times? I think
Um,
we had the bases loaded two or three times.
yeah, and we finally broke through with that Bargo play. They got by their first baseman. I won't even mention his name. We don't have to get into all that if you don't want to. But
No, he got
anyway,
punked out by a 5'6"
yeah,
shortstop.
yeah, and
He,
I
he
was
can giggle all he wants, bro. He can giggle all he wants and act tough. Ariel Antigua won that battle. I'm just gonna tell you that right now.
yeah, and when it's been the way it has been the last few weeks, last month, I kind of like to see somebody showing some fight. Even if it's in today a losing effort, but last night, I mean, that seemed to really spark us on Saturday night. And I would not have guessed Ariel Teague would be the guy who shows the most fight this year so far as getting after somebody. But you got to have somebody do it.
You have to. That was, the biggest thing on Saturday. Like we said before, Marcus Phillips looked like Marcus Phillips from the beginning of the season. And we're
Yep.
talking about pitching here. I mean, Tennessee has, like, if AJ Russell could get healthy. I mean, no, nothing against Tegan Coons because Tegan Coons is a great pitcher, but Tennessee has three great starting pitchers. It's just, dude, and also the bats haven't been. Dean Curley has been missing for 3 weeks now, and I think it's all in his head. I mean, Dean Curley's a phenomenal baseball player. We saw it last year.
Yep.
I think he's just in his head. Uh, honestly, if I'm Dean Curley, I'm starting to think about playing first base because that dude cannot throw a baseball this year. Like
He's got the yips, man. I mean, it's It's a real thing.
Yeah, but other than that, man, this baseball team's completely fine. You're talking about a 9-loss baseball team with 3 series remaining against three of the top three really good baseball teams left.
Yep.
Correct me if I'm wrong. We have two home series
Yep.
between Auburn and Vandy,
Correct.
and then you finish it up in Arkansas.
Yep.
And Tennessee needs to win all 3 to host regionals and super regionals. And to me, that's a big deal. And again, you have 9 conference games left. They could do it.
Yeah.
They could easily do it. You got 2 home. You have to win your home series. It all comes down to that final series in Arkansas, and
Yep.
they could do it. I'm not worried just yet about this baseball team because you brought it up in text before saying that we're 2 games back from what last year from
Yeah.
where we are today. So people can't sweat it. You're gonna lose series, especially against LSU's and A&M's and Arkansas. It's gonna happen. But you gotta rub some dirt off and get on and forget
Yeah.
and go play some baseball.
The biggest frustrating thing to me about the team so far in SEC play is not the actual play on the field. It's that they're 5-4 at home, and they lost 2 of those series to teams that were not good record wise coming in. It's just not something this team has done in the past. We're 8-4 on the road, which should be good enough to have you at 15 wins at this point. I mean, that's the bottom line. Like, I think these next 2 series at home, the crowd has got to be in it. They've got to, LSU's crowd Friday night when they finally started the damn game after that delay was electric. We need that type of atmosphere in Lindsey Nelson for the next 2 weeks. Like, when the team has done what they've done the last month, any type of energy that the fans can provide will help. And I think that's going to be key. There needs to be a sellout for all, I guess, 8 games in a row coming up at home with the
Who do we
two
play first?
Auburn.
Okay.
But yeah, they just need to. I think you said they need to win all 3 series. I think any combination of 6 wins puts you in a really good spot because the RPI is going to go up when you play Auburn, Vanderbilt, and Arkansas on the road.
Yeah.
So, any combination of 6 wins, like whether that's sweeping Auburn and Vanderbilt or taking 2 from each of them, I think that will put you in a good enough spot. At least that's what I'm hoping. But, like you said, I don't want to panic yet. It is, and like I said earlier, I'm not trying to say the last month has been acceptable or the type of play they're going to need to win, to go back to back. But it's just the growing pains of a team. They're really right now, besides Killen and Fisher, are hit or miss at the plate right now, and they're having these silly errors, and the pitching's not consistent. It's honestly kind of amazing. We're 13-8. If you really think about it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's and how would we be thinking about this team right now if Curley just made one of those plays on Friday night? I think it would be a complete 180 from a lot of the people.
Oh, people would be saying, "Oh, we're winning the Natty. We're
Yeah.
talking all this smack to LSU." You're right. You're exactly right on that. I mean, what happens if Curley just makes one of those plays? Who knows?
Yeah, and that's why it's so tough because Tennessee played well enough to win that series. But like you said, you got to rub it off and move on. I mean, and I think they did a good job of that from Friday to Saturday, and today it just unraveled quickly, and it is what it is. But like I said, let's get a good environment at home. Let's fix the mistakes, and let's get back to hitting in all 3 games of a series, please. Because it's been, there's one game of series what we'll score 8 to 10 runs, and the other 2 are, who knows what's going to happen. And like I said last week, it's very cyclical for hitting. And when you play LSU, you mentioned it before we played them this weekend, Jim. Like, it's not really the team you want to be going in, during a hitting slump to play.
Oh yeah, no.
Because
They have three great starting pitchers.
I think the guy today I think it was his first start, maybe, but it's a lot easier to pitch with a 3-run lead. you know, like you can just pound the strike zone, and it is what it is, man. You got any more thoughts on this team before we move on to some other stuff tonight?
Nope, just don't sweat it. You got three series left. Get like you said, win 6 games, and you should be okay. You
Yeah,
should be.
for sure. Um, the next biggest thing, Tennessee Volunteer Land this weekend, Big Orange Country, I should say. We had 4 Vols drafted, one in the first round, James Pierce Jr. to the Falcons. Omar Norman Lott, second round to the Chiefs, which I thought was pretty surprising, just based on his draft grades coming in. Dante Thornton, fourth round to the Raiders. Dylan Sampson, fourth round to the Browns. And then we had a handful of guys go as undrafted free agents too, with Amari Thomas to the Saints, Elijah Simmons to the Cardinals, and Will motherfucking Brooks to the Kansas City Chiefs. Also, how about that?
I love it. I think Omar was a great pick by the Chiefs. I think beside uh, Chris Jones, that's a fantastic little duo.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, everyone that got drafted deserved it. Dante Thornton going to the Raiders, Dylan Sampson going to the Browns. I mean, I really was hoping my Giants were going to sneak Dylan Sampson.
yeah,
Um, but I mean, it is what it is. I'm happy for all of them. I think you know Tennessee's doing great in regards to getting people to the NFL. Um, but yeah, you can't be more excited for him. So
yeah. I was very happy to see us get another first rounder. Um, you almost thought it wasn't going to happen with all the talk about James Pierce and his attitude issues or character issues or whatever people were spewing. Um, so I was real happy to see that, because the more first rounders you get, the better recruiting will be. Um, Dante Thornton going to the Raiders continues a long line of the Raiders drafting just speed.
mm-hmm.
Um, and Sampson to the Browns. You were mentioning it before we got on. I mean, that running back room with Judkins and Sampson and Chubb is pretty good. It's pretty good. And you also said, I mean, Norman Lott next to Chris Jones, you couldn't ask for a better mentor either. So
Oh yeah.
very happy for those 4 who got drafted. Happy for the UDFA's too. But that leads into this. I mean, transfer portal, pretty much the only thing Tennessee has done in the spring now is pick up their, I guess you could say replacement for Nico. It's yet to be seen. From They got Joey Aguilar from UCLA on Monday. That got finalized. Just your first reaction to that, Jim?
I mean, I don't even count that because you needed a quarterback. I don't honestly. I'm one of those that I don't think Joey Aguilar is going to start right at the beginning of the season. It's just because he doesn't. I'm pretty sure his finals just concluded at UCLA, so he's probably just getting to Knoxville, and you have what 2 months, 3 months to
Yeah,
learn a brand new offense, and you can't really practice. So I just think it's gonna be interesting. It's definitely gonna be a quarterback battle.
yeah,
But
yeah,
talking specifically about the portal, I don't know, man. I think Tennessee. Listen, I'm no expert, but like Tennessee, it just seems lazy's not the word. It's like every time, like it sucks because I feel like if Nico would have left in December, it would have set up Tennessee great because
yeah,
you could have probably gotten someone great. You could have gotten Zachariah Branch. You could have, you know, people like that. Like if you had Zachariah Branch, who knows that one of those quarterbacks you were talking to could have came. Who
yeah,
knows? But I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I'm going to trust Josh Heupel. He's given us no reason not to trust him. So I think this defense this year. is going to have to pretty much do what it did last year, unless Joey
Yeah.
Aguilar is something, like a Hendon Hooker type where he just comes out of nowhere and becomes a Heisman candidate type thing. This defense is going to have to do what it did last year to keep us in games,
Yeah.
and it's going to be something to look out for.
Yeah. If there's one thing you can be critical of Heupel for, it's, the offense the last 2 years and then this right here. Just the roster construction. Um, I've been very, vocal about I would rather just build through high school, play the guys you get there. Uh, we kind of made fun of Clemson for doing that, but they really haven't fallen off terribly.
They're
I
also
mean, they're
playing in the ACC though.
true, true. That's a very good point. But it's not like they've fallen off the face of the earth from not taking a shitload of transfers every year. To me, the portal is for shoring up spots and just it's more for teams who are not coming off a 10-win season. But in Tennessee's case, when you lose 21 to the portal because you either didn't see the field or they just wanted to change or what have you, you probably should be picking up more than 5 guys so far. I mean, and it's not like Tennessee isn't bringing guys in for visits. They got the biggest one, I guess, was Keelan Marion from BYU, but the rumor is he's going to Miami. So we'll see what happens there. Georgia State, Ted Hurst, 961 yards, 9 touchdowns. We brought him in for a visit, or haven't brought him in for a visit, but they're working on it. Jermichael Carter from McNeese State, another wide receiver, trying to get him in. That's expected to happen. Trying to bring in a safety from Miami, Zaquan Patterson. Um, and we were talking about this, Jim. Jacoby Thomas. His name is not officially in the portal yet, as of yesterday or earlier today, I think. Do you think that he comes back and remains a Vol?
I think he does. I think it will be, again, nothing's gonna be bigger than losing your quarterback, but like he's a starting safety this year. Um, he loves Tennessee. He loves the school. He loves the fans. Um, I love watching him play. I mean, he plays with a lot of heart. I think he stays. I think he's doing a Ricky Gibson where he knows he's needed,
Yeah,
and he's not $1 million safety, but he's gonna get some more money if they want to keep him. And I think Tennessee and Josh Heupel is gonna want to keep a guy like that, especially with this whole quarterback debacle. And you know defense is key this year if you want to be somewhat relevant.
yeah. Either the defense does what did last year, or the offense gets back to 2021 and 2022 production. That's the only two scenarios where Tennessee, matches or exceeds what they did last season. Um, right now, if you were to ask me our win loss record next year, I would say 8-4, and it's just because right now, without any transfers and anything, you're talking about a really young team with unless it's Aguilar, an inexperienced quarterback, and a young defense too. So that's, I mean, right now, I don't think that's crazy to say. So
No, it's not crazy to say, but and I understand what I said before about him learning the offense and all that. I don't think you pay a guy like Joey Aguilar probably 1.2 million to come be Tennessee's quarterback and not play him. I
yeah,
think I think the here's my thought process. I think if he comes in and shows the potential, I think he's going to play. I think if Jake Merklinger just flat out beats him out for the spot, I could see that happening. But again, when you're paying a guy that much, you're not going to not play him.
yeah. It really seems like he's the guy they're hoping wins the job at the very least if they're paying him that number. But I don't think that should really come into account if the other two or one of the other two is better. I mean, you got to put who gives you the best chance to win out there. I mean, that just is what it is. Like I told you last week, I would rather McIntyre start, especially now. Now that I know who the quarterback is, I want McIntyre to start just because he's the 5-star, he's the unknown, and I guess you could say the same for Merklinger, but he was a 4-star. So I'm just going off the stars there. But the guy with the highest potential, I think, is McIntyre. The guy who I think would be the most exciting to watch is McIntyre. I mean, that's what I'm feeling right now. That's who I hope starts because that would excite me the most.
Well, and I'm getting this from VolQuest and Eric Kane and all that, and I don't think McIntyre is going to start, not because of the talent thing, because I agree. I think he's probably the most talented in the room. It's just I don't think his family and I don't think they want him to play year one. I think it's more of a learn the offense, and he's gonna have to compete for the job the following year because you got Faison coming in, and that kid's an absolute baller,
Yeah.
and he's built better, and but this year I don't think I think it's just because he's too. I'm not gonna say too small. I mean the kid's tall. It's just I think it's gonna be the whole weight thing, and like I said, you're paying a guy $1 million. You're gonna play him, and
Yeah.
after watching Joey Aguilar's film, like I think he could thrive in this offense. It's just can Tennessee get that separation they were getting in 22? I mean,
Yeah.
I think Mike Matthews is going to do just fine. I think Braylon Staley's a fantastic wide receiver. Chris Brazel, you have the talent. It's just what's going to happen because you don't have what 22 had was that they had Hyatt that could beat anybody,
Yep.
and they didn't have that last year.
Yeah. I mean, I know that clip from the Alabama game of all the guys we had running wide open and Nico was just missing. You know, I don't know how often that was happening last year. Nico just didn't see it. Um, but I'll go ahead and float this out there. Well, I'll get to that in a second. But if we don't find out what McIntyre is this year, you're going into 2026 in the same situation as you are this year with no experienced quarterback on the roster, which is another reason that I'm throwing my hat in the ring for McIntyre. You
So
know,
you're saying throw him out there, let him get the experience.
yeah, at least see what he's got. You know,
What about
like
Merklinger though?
that's the thing. I have a feeling that they would go to Merklinger first, but even still, anybody on this depth chart is 2 snaps away from playing at any moment. So you know, it is what it is. I mean,
So
and
who you starting day one?
if it were me, it's not seeing any inkling of practice and not knowing much about quarterback development at all. Just going off the stars and the potential, I'm going with McIntyre. I mean, but I know coaches, especially football coaches, go with experience the majority of the time. So, but
Yeah.
again, if you do that, you're going into next year in the same situation, especially if it's Aguilar. So, that's what I meant to say. If it's Aguilar, you're going into the 2026 in the same situation. So,
So are you sticking with the record of 8-4 regardless of quarterback, or are you talking 8-4? Is that with Aguilar?
it's tough to say. I'm more going off not just the quarterback, just the inexperience we have on offense at this point. Another offensive line that's going to be their first time playing together because you brought in those transfers and you got a freshman, but assumingly playing right tackle. You have inexperience in the wide receiver room outside of Brazel and Matthews got like a tiny bit of experience last year. I mean, I'm not trying to be doom and gloom, but I'm just trying to be
No, you're
realistic.
being realistic. I mean, also you got Kitzelman hurt, you got Jamar McCoy hurt.
Yeah.
Um, you have a lot of ifs. I think honestly, I think you're being very generous.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of people go less than that. I see a season like 2023 right now.
So
Just,
yeah, well,
we
2023. What were we? 9-3.
8-4 and 9-4 with the bowl win. Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's just giving Heupel the benefit of the doubt because The only year he went worse than that was his first year with, you know, a team bereft of talent and with 30 some odd transfers and, you know, that whole deal.
So
But
what games are you saying we're gonna lose? I mean, I know the three you're talking about. The two away games that we can't seem to win ever.
yeah,
And Georgia coming
yeah. And then, you know, your typical Josh Heupel, what the hell just
show
happened
garbage
game.
game, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but, you know, this is what I was saying I was going to say earlier. What if, you know, us not taking transfers is Heupel going more towards the I'm going to play the guys we recruit thing? I
Could
mean,
be.
I would be on board for that, even if it means we, you know, take a step back this year. Because if you look at that Ohio State roster, a lot of those guys they recruited out of high school. The only
Yeah.
people who really started and contributed for them that transferred
Jenkins
in,
and Downs.
yeah, I mean, everybody else they recruited out of high school and kept there. And I think that's what Spire does most of the time. We kept Matthews and Carter, which I'm damn glad we did because you cannot keep letting, you know, those 4 and 5 star talents get out of town because you want to go get a transfer from Northwestern Minnesota Tech. Like, I don't want to do that anymore. We need to play the kids who commit here out of high school because those are the kids that'll be more likely to love Tennessee for Tennessee and not a paycheck. So,
Yeah. I think I'm not gonna say we're gonna win, 10 games, 9 games, whatever. But I honestly think we're gonna be surprised. I think Joey Aguilar really does fit
yeah,
into this type of offense because I mean, when he was, I understand he threw a lot of picks, but he threw the ball a lot. Like,
yeah.
it wasn't like Tennessee where you're running the ball 50% of the time. I think he's gonna be more accurate. I think he makes all those throws that Nico missed last year.
Yeah. Just in that highlight tape that's been floating around on Twitter, I mean, that game he had against North Carolina, he was dropping dimes and almost beat, you know, an ACC team with a Sun Belt team. I mean,
Yeah, App State.
yeah. I
I'm
mean,
literally like 2 miles from campus.
yeah. Out there in Boone, which is
Boone
the
County.
and you know, I guess 2023 was the year or last year was the year where he had, you know, a crazy amount of interceptions, but Hendon Hooker was a mid quarterback from Virginia Tech and he threw 5 interceptions over 2 years. Like this offense really doesn't breed interceptions all
Yeah.
that much. Like Joe Milton did the same thing. He only threw like it was less than 10. It was like maybe 6 or 7 in 2023. Like I'm not too worried about that. I'm more worried about, you know, just the rest of the team. I think we will have an offense at least as good as last year, which,
Oh,
you
I
know,
agree. Yeah. 100%.
like it's just and you know I've heard this take a lot. I mean, you ain't gonna lack, you ain't gonna have a hard time motivating this team after what just happened three weeks ago. I mean, it's gonna be a team that bands together.
Well,
Just
you could use the Kirby Smart thing.
yeah, I mean
You're
nobody expects
Batman.
him to do anything now, including me. Like I
It
don't expect
depends.
them.
Yeah.
Like
Now we'll show out for him.
yeah,
Neyland's always going to be rocking.
yeah,
And you got important games at home this year because that's a sneaky game where I'm not saying we're going to beat Georgia, but that's a sneaky game. You're getting Georgia week 3.
yep,
That's that you could at home Joey Aguilar legacy game.
yep,
Let me tell you something. That's the game of the season. Let's just say Tennessee's 2-0 going into the Georgia game because you got to beat Syracuse. I mean, Syracuse ain't no slouch either, but you're 2-0. Georgia comes to town. Neyland's rocking. Joey Aguilar legacy game, and somehow we beat him.
yeah,
That could be a huge turnaround, huge turn for the season, and a lot of momentum rolling your way. Like I said, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but that could be another magical season for Tennessee if they could do something like that early in the season to give them some momentum. I think their defense is going to be just fine,
yeah,
and it all depends on Kitzelman and McCoy. I think if they could come back and be in for the Georgia game, that'd be awesome.
yeah, yeah. It's just I want them to get in the portal at least for me to be more confident going into this year.
Yeah.
D lineman, secondary piece. Ideally, somebody can play anywhere out there. I know those kind of kids don't grow on trees, but somebody who's versatile in the secondary, um, and maybe a wide receiver. That's really not as big of a deal to me as most people think it is. Like I
It's more
trust
of
what we.
depth.
Yeah, I mean we have what 7, and how many even touch the field in a hype offense anyway?
5 maybe.
Yeah, I mean obviously you're worried about injury, so I would go ahead and say receiver is my third priority. Like get some more depth on the defensive line, a guy or two. Get some more depth in the secondary, a guy or two. Maybe get a wide receiver, but I want to play Travis Smith Jr. and
Oh
Dodson
yeah,
and all
dude.
those kids. Like I want to see it. So
They're very talented. You saw it in the spring game.
yeah, I mean it's not like they were 3 stars. Like they were highly touted recruits that we got over several SEC teams and other big programs across the country.
Oh
So,
yeah.
but yeah, you got any more thoughts on that?
No, I don't think so. I think like I said, I don't think we're in panic mode. I think it all depends on how well Aguilar learns the system in the next couple of months. And the way, I mean, he's a veteran guy. He has a chip on his shoulder, man. He's gonna be, if it were me coming from that situation,
Yeah,
I'm in
pissed
that
off.
playbook.
You're pissed off.
I'm in that playbook every day, talking to Josh Heupel every day. I'd be getting Mike Matthews, Braylon Staley. I'd be like, yo, let's go. Like, let's, you know, and I'm sure he's sitting with Jake Merklinger and George
Yeah,
McIntyre, and because all these kids want to win. They're all for Tennessee. They want to win, and
yeah,
we're gonna be just fine. I think, like I said, chip on his shoulder. He's in the playbook right now as we speak.
yeah. 100%. Tennessee basketball also getting their last few additions from the portal here in the last few days. We missed out on um, Miles Duke from Oklahoma. He went to Texas A&M. Missed out on there was another kid.
Rodney Rice,
Yeah, we missed out on Rodney Rice. Yes, because he went to USC for an
a
ungodly
crazy
amount
amount
of
of money.
money. Yeah.
Yeah,
So Tennessee is now in the latest from this morning from Grant Ramey. Um, Amari Abram from Louisiana Tech coming in on a visit tomorrow, Monday. Um, shot 42% from the field, almost 40% from three, too, 37.3%. Played 32 minutes a game, started all the games for Louisiana Tech. Um, and he started at Ole Miss. He saw the floor a little bit, starting 22 times 2 or 3 years ago. I mean, this is an experienced guy who's played in the SEC before and averaged 8 points over that season. So I don't think it's a bad ad at all if we can land Amari Abram.
again, I don't think he's your starting two guy.
Yeah,
I think this is, and also a lot of people. I don't. Everyone's skeptical. Skeptical about Jordan Gainey right now. But this kid would be an excellent ad. I mean, like you said, he hit 66 threes, shooting almost 40% from three. I think he's a great come off the bench guy and that can give you production like we talked about. I mean, that's what Tennessee basketball was missing last year. Other than Chaz Lanier, it was like, where's the offense going to come from?
yeah,
And you know, I just think this would be a great guy to come off the bench. I think Tennessee does need to get a starting two guy to follow. And again, we don't know the Jordan Gainey thing. I don't know the fifth year thing because who knows? I mean, between the fifth year thing, I mean, Jordan Gainey and Zakai could come back. But uh that's, I don't even know if I love Zakai Ziegler. Who wouldn't want to, defensive player of the year candidate coming back, right?
yeah.
I just think it's ready to get some new faces in there. I would love Jordan Gainey back. I think Jordan Gainey would be a great person to have back. Um,
I,
get
I,
Abram.
I guess Gainey hinges on that fifth year ruling whenever that happens.
Yeah, you could tell that from what I've heard is that Zakai's in Florida training for the draft, the
Mm-hmm.
combine, and Jordan Gainey is apparently still in Knoxville.
Yeah,
So I think Jordan's waiting for that to go through because I think if he has the opportunity to come back, he's going to come back because
I think so.
He'll get more money staying in college.
He would probably be your starting two guard too. I mean,
Uh,
that's
depend again. It's all depending on who they can land. But yeah,
yeah,
I think Jordan Gainey would be your starting two. You get Abram to come off the bench,
yeah.
and
If
they
that
still need
happens,
one
then
more.
I'm so down. Like let's ride. I'm kind of let's ride anyway. No matter who we end up getting to fill these last two spots, I think I said it last week too. I mean, Gillespie and Carey were two huge ads from the portal. Then you pick up Ament when nobody thought you really would. A couple
I
days
can't wait to
before.
watch that kid play, dude.
I mean, I'm kind of just ready to roll the dice no matter what happens. Like I'm excited. Like anytime you get to watch a top five prospect, a lottery pick kind of guy, you're not going to have an unexciting season. So,
Oh yeah.
and go ahead.
No, I'm listening.
Oh, and you added the best point guard in the transfer portal. You added the guy from Vanderbilt who pissed us the hell off. Like you got the energy guy. And you
Mm-hmm.
returned all four. Nobody entered the portal. Like we have all that experience coming back of the four guys. I mean, it's not a ton of experience, but and then you got the guys out of high school besides Ament too. I mean,
Mari
I'm not.
Evans.
Yeah, I'm not down on this team at all. No matter what happens, it is disappointing to miss out on Rice and Duke Miles or like I get it, but I would rather people come to Tennessee. Like the kids that come to Tennessee out of transfer portal know what they're getting themselves into. Some people don't want to do that. Some people would rather go and make just $3 million in Los Angeles than make the tournament and win games. If they don't want to win, that's fine. Like it is what it is because you're going to win in Knoxville with Rick Barnes. You're making the tournament at least. So
No, yeah. I mean Rick Barnes is. You can tell he. This is what I'm talking about with the football portal. I mean Rick Barnes is. I mean yeah, he didn't get Rodney Rice, but again, kids are going to follow that money. I mean, but the thing is Rodney Rice. If you're in his shoes, if you get hurt, I mean your career could be over. So I understand following the money, in regards to that, but boy, would this team would have been so special
yeah,
if Rodney Rice would have been the two guard.
yeah.
Um,
I will say this: if you told me out of the three that we missed out on that we had a lot of smoke around of Freeman, Ament, and Rodney Rice, I'm taking Ament not like 10 times out of 10. Like you know,
yeah.
I think if you were only going to get one, that's the guy you wanted to get, and I think he was their number one priority pretty clearly. Um, anything else on basketball?
No, Kim Caldwell's absolutely crushing
Yeah,
the portal. I think she'll probably get one more out of the portal. But watch out for the Lady Balls next year, dude. I think they're going to be very special next year.
yeah. I mean, top recruiting class, and then adding all these ladies out of the portal, and you got a lot of people returning from last year's team too. And I don't know if you saw the Mike Keith show with her, where when Mike Keith interviewed her, she wants to average 90 points a game instead of 80 points a game. Like she wants to turn it up another notch
I think she
offensively.
could do it with all the talent she's getting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in total agreement. I'm excited to watch them come late fall. Softball team, another series win, 2 out of 3 from Ole Miss. Ole Miss is a pretty good softball team. I'm not mad at that at all. Um, so yeah, moral of the story: we need Big Orange Country to show up at Lindsey Nelson these next 2 weeks. We need to get some
Absolutely.
guys out of the transfer portal for football. Land Abram, land any shooting guard. Like I'll be okay no matter what. Like I said, I believe in that roster already. And go Vols. You got anything else, man?
Nope. Go Vols. That's all you got to end with right there.
There you go.